Hi, everyone. I'm Nancy Thellman. I'm your Douglas County Commissioner for the 2nd District, which includes lots of the eastern part of Lawrence and then all of Eudora and all of Baldwin City and the rural spaces in between. And I am so grateful to Ben for this opportunity to be inside this beautiful Eudora Museum, History Museum, and have a chance to talk with you. Ben has given me special permission to take this mask off for a bit, so that I can have a kind of a normal moment with you. But I am so appreciative to Ben for following the public health guidelines on face masks inside this place and when we go out in public. It's important, and I'm grateful for the compliance to that strong guidance. First of all, I wish you all well. This has been certainly an unusual season. 2020 has been a pretty tumultuous time so far, and we can only hope that things will calm down and we can stay healthy and answer these important moments of social unrest with some real solutions and some real heart, and get to a better place with everybody. I think it's been, frankly, it's a historic time, and all the more reason for places like this Museum of History and for people like Ben who keep the history and keep our stories honest and on the record and saved for future generations. I'm immensely grateful to Ben's work here. You all know, since you're watching this video, you all know how hard Ben has worked to make sure the stories in this place don't go away while we are not out in public so much during this pandemic. Hats off to all the video work, the virtual tour of the city, the virtual tour of the museum. It's not been an easy season, but Ben has really risen to the occasion, as have other folks in other parts of the county getting through this season. So if I were in front of all of you, I would just do a normal Douglas County talk about the county's efforts to really promote and preserve Douglas County history and important sites and stories, uniquely important lands. That's the work of the Heritage Conservation Council. It's a program I helped initiate. It's really taken off. We've been able to do so much work in every corner of the county, both in the most rural parts to inside our cities, Lawrence and Eudora and Baldwin, Lecompton. Every community and every township has had some kind of benefit through the Heritage Conservation Council, and I'm both really proud of that work, and I'm doubly inspired to keep that work going, because as we're seeing, history happens all around us, and it's important to take note and to preserve and conserve the most important parts of what happens around us for our own education and edification, and for the future folks who follow us. So that program is one that is making a real difference, but it takes people to make that program work. So we have a really incredible board on the Heritage Conservation Council. We have an incredible staff person, Jan Schubert-Eric, who reaches out all over the county, and I know a lot of you know her. And then mostly folks like Ben and all the volunteers that make this Eudora Historical Society and the museum work. It's one paid staff person and then tons of volunteers who spend just countless hours of time and energy, labor, in-kind gifts, I remember this museum used to be located in kind of a makeshift space inside a school that doesn't exist anymore down the road. And now, through a very generous gift of the building and many phases of construction and remodeling and revisioning, this facility, this museum is spectacular. I remember that it was the first site of the Smithsonian museums. The National Museum System chose Eudora's museum as one to exhibit for the first time a massive display on water and the impact of water on our lives, our history, our future. And it was beautiful and brilliant, and I was so proud that they chose this place in Eudora to make their first big splash. And so much other stuff has happened since then. This program grows, the importance of it grows, not just in this community, but countywide and regionally. It's an important place for us. And Ben owes we owe Ben a lot of thanks for that, but behind Ben are tons of people who make sure that work gets done as well. So I could go on and on and on, and I tend to, but I guess I just feel like in this moment where we're all kind of stirred up, and it's been a difficult season throughout the spring, and starting with a global pandemic, and then moving from that into a time of real social discomfort and unrest around our racial injustice and systems that we're seeing with our own eyes that need to change. It's a lot to take in, and so I guess I'm with you out there. I'm hoping you are able to take it all in and reflect on all of this deeply, and keep these stories in your own lives and retell them to your generations, and help Ben find a way to tell these stories in this museum for the permanent record. I'm gonna change hats a little bit. There's that part of me that loves the natural and cultural heritage that we're trying so hard to keep. As the county commissioner in me, there's the old retired nurse in me that wants to really affirm to you the importance of taking this pandemic seriously. As soon as I get out of this building, I will put my mask on, because that's what the science tells us to do. We're in phase 3 of our reopening in Douglas County, and that means for people, just individuals, not being in large groups, no more than 45, but that's an improvement. Still keeping our distance from each other, and then wearing our face masks when we're out in public. Businesses are doing a great job opening up and keeping distance and making sure all the hygiene is done to keep that virus from us. Douglas County has done great because its people have done, for the most part, Douglas County people have done great. Our numbers are very low. We've had only, I think, 78 or 79 positive cases, and no death. We've had really sick people, but nobody has died. And I can say thank you on behalf of Douglas County and the health department and the hospital and all the people who worry so much about your health. Thank you for doing what you're doing to keep us all safe in this really strange time. And Kansas is doing awfully well too, in a time when some of the progress that we've made has slipped around the country. So please do stay in touch with all the things we need to be doing around the pandemic, You can go to the Douglas County website. We have a coronavirus hub. It's got all the information you'd ever want to know and more on what you can do to stay safe and keep others safe as well. So that's my public health hat. Now I'm going to take that off and take my old retired minister's stole and put that on for a second and just wish you peace. But not the kind of peace that is complacent. I wish you the kind of peace that is a little bit stirred up. But restful, knowing that we can get through this. And we will come out the other end stronger and maybe landing in a different place that's better for everybody in our community and in our world. And that's my hope and that's my prayer. And so with all of that, with that whole sermon, I just wish you well. And thanks so much, Ben, for the opportunity to if not meet in person with folks in Eudora, at least to meet virtually. That's good enough for now.